conservative majority found that Louisiana's 6th district, which links black communities across the state, relied too heavily on race in its design.
Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito called the map an unconstitutional gerrymander. The decision could open the door to broader legal challenges over majority black and Latino districts across.
Good morning. Good motherfucking morning. Okay? We have enough news today to cover the rest of the week, but my God, today, isn't it tough? Okay? So it is 9:32. It is May 1st. Baby, it feels like it's already October, but I guess we are already here. I am unapologetic tech, being unapologetic as I know how. Get your ass in the room. Turn up if you need to. We are here. Today, we're going to go through, of course, you heard the news yesterday when we heard that the Supreme Court has come and fucked church's money by messing with the voters' right for civil rights. It's very depressing. But, however, let's get into it. Chop, chop. Hello, I want to apologize to Tank. You can hit that like and hit that subscribe. We are all here this morning. So check this out. Of course, you got the news last night. I think we was all screaming and hollering. So let's catch up on what they was telling on the news about this Supreme Court thing. Cause baby, let's go.
Welcome to the News Hour. The U.S. Supreme Court today struck down one of Louisiana's majority black congressional districts, a decision that weakens key protections under the Voting Rights Act. In a 6-3 ruling, the court's conservative majority found that Louisiana's 6th district, which links black communities across the state, relied too heavily on race in its design.
Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito called the map an unconstitutional gerrymander. The decision could open the door to broader legal challenges over majority black and Latino districts across the country and give states new latitude to redraw maps in ways that could shift the balance of political power.
Now, just to give you like a little bit of thing with this right here, right? This is so upsetting. It's more upsetting than I can even think, because let me tell you something. I would never think I would see something like this happen in my lifetime, right? You know, our ancestors, our great grandparents, and our people fought to make sure we had this right here. And for the Supreme Court to rule as such as they did, I am baffled, upset, surly, and this has to be a wake up call for a lot of us on this damn story. Let's get back into it.
Louisiana Democratic Congressman Troy Carter said the impact of the ruling will extend far beyond his state.
This is about our democracy.
That's right.
And I implore everyone who's out there to recognize that if you care about justice, freedom, and fair elections, you should be as upset as we are.
We are joined now by Amy Howe, NewsHour Supreme Court analyst and co-founder of SCOTUS blog, and Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report with Amy Walter. It's great to have
both
of
let me
you
pause
here.
right quick,
So
I got
Amy
something
Howe,
to say
we'll start
already.
with you.
So this what gets me. Seeing this right here. I lay so much not only blame to Trump, because Trump was gonna try this anyway, but I lay blame and accountability to also to us, because sometimes you get too comfortable, and you just let stuff kind of slide, and then shit like this 20 years happens. And I know we're going to fix it all together as a group. I know we will. But the judges did rule yesterday. Let's go through and just read about this right here. Okay? Let's go through and read about this right here. Man, I'm telling you, when I tell y'all, my feelings still hurt. My feelings still hurt. I'm like, Lord, our ancestors didn't. What the hell? What the hell is going on? So, as you know that, let me tell you something. I feel like this. We're going to have to make sure we fix this shit. We're going to have to make sure we fix this. I mean, it's no other way. It's no other way we can do it. So, yesterday, this is basically what happened to it. I'm going to read it verbatim. The U.S. Supreme Court fundamentally reinterpreted the Voting Rights Act, VRA, in the landmark case of Louisiana versus Callius, decided on April 29, 2026, which is yesterday, in a 6-3 ruling, which they are some of the most dumbest ruling people I've ever seen in my life. In a 6-3 ruling. And in a 6-3 ruling, along with ideological lines and the conservative majority struck down a Louisiana congressional map that included a second majority black district, labeling it unconstitutional for racial gerrymandering. Now, listen, if you don't know, okay, let me break this down to you a little bit. Basically, they finna try to steal the election. They finna take us out to think. And my thing is this: you know, this not only is going to affect us, it's going to affect married women as well. The key impact of this 2026 ruling, the decision significantly narrows the Section 2 of the VRA, which previously protected minority voters from having their political power diluted. And intent versus results for tests. For decades, plaintiffs could challenge maps by showing that they had a discriminatory impact. The results of like a test. The court has now effectively shifted the intent test, requiring proof that lawmakers specifically intended to discriminate based on race. And they it's America. So basically, they said one of them said that basically racism, it's and them down. When the hell racism them down? I want to know that. It's really upsetting. No, let's see what else it says for it. It says the defense. States can now defend maps by claiming they were drawn for partisan gain rather than a racial discrimination. If race is closely tied to a party preference, as a common in the South, this defense makes it nearly impossible to challenge such maps. The new Cali's requirements, plaintiffs must now show that they proposed majority minority district meets all states' legitimate political goals, including its partisan objectives. Basically, we fucked a little bit. I want to know this. We was all Xing this last night. Shout out to Country TV, and we was all having a really deep conversation. Everybody was upset and angry, and I think that we needed to be angry. We needed to be upset, in my opinion, because we need to see the passion that we always have for the same thing. Because like I said last night, I just don't see. Let me take this down. I just don't see us like really, really like laying down and taking this. We ain't gonna lay down and take this. We ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors did not leave us behind for us to get our asses up here and then not do nothing about this right here. Now we gonna do something about it. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And we gonna whatever that means, we're gonna vote. You know what I'm saying? You wanna do like local elections. That's one way. Grassrooting. That's one way. Ensuring that we are guarding our lineage and our heritage, because again, our ancestors not listen. Let me take this down right here. 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 Okay, our ancestors, not theirs. Ours. Ours. Ours was unalived, and they gave their lives so we could have rights in this country. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, and I know of that it is our responsibility to ensure that we keep that coming. Our ancestors never said the fight was over, and we do. Somebody one day, so long, some Nepo, Donald, Dwayne, Leon, Unfound, Epstein Files, Laura Laughter, Lump, Sugar Daddy Trump was gonna come and try to take it away. And it's us to make sure we have the responsibility. So I just feel like we need to call I think Figaro. We need to call Nina. We ain't calling Umar. You know what I'm saying? Like we got shit to do. We can call Tariq. You know what I'm saying? Because let me tell you something. We like last night. The argument is, the thing is, what do we do now? Right? The thing is, okay, what do we do now? We know for a fact we can't sit our ass down. We know that, right? So if we know we can't sit our ass down, it shouldn't be. I don't think the argument should be right now about who is FBA, because FBA is nothing but a lineage. From what I understand now, ADOS, they said, I don't know if they're a lineage or an organization or a group, because they got sectors. They said, well, they sell them t-shirts and shit. Now they sell them t-shirts. Now we arguing over the wrong shit. We arguing the wrong shit. The problem is with us right now is everybody want to be Beyonce. Everybody want to be Beyonce in the group. You can't do nothing because everybody want to be David Russell. Everybody trying to be David. Well, this is our group. And we had this and we had that. It don't damn matter now. You know what I'm saying? This is important to us, because we don't fix this shit now. What is our nieces, nephews, and kids gonna end up dealing with? No. No, this is the time that we stand up. We that generation, and and yes, I'm telling you, I'll be willing to lay down my life for my nieces and nephews and my people that come after me. Sure is, because my ancestors did it. Take me out. If I gotta go, I gotta go. Okay. The vision is longer. This is how white people think. They think long term. They think longevity. They think lineage and legacy too. You know. And the thing is, we have the Democrats have flooded us with and I can't believe Clarence Thomas so ass. We already knew something wrong with him. But I mean, what gets me is that we have been to the point where we have flooded. The Democrats have helped us flood our country with immigrants, our cousins. And the thing is, the best thing was that we could all learn how to work in harmony together, but we all know we can't do that. We can't do that. Because you can't trust them. You can't. Baby, you can't trust them. You've been woke up. Them folks been sold you off the boat. No lie. And this is the part where I understand where I think we missed the point. And I think it's us between our 30s and our 40s. We need to take responsibility because while we was out here running and trying to learn this internet, this and that, we supposed to make sure this shit right here was dead. And black women told us all the way anyway. Black women always told us. And this time right here, it's like, man, I know Martin Luther King and Malcolm and all them. Like, what the hell? What is y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? And that part to me is depressing. That part to me is upsetting. That part to me is just like, it's mind blowing, man. So anyway, I do feel like we can try to fix this much as we can. I do agree with we don't need, the thing is this, if we don't need our Haitian and African, listen, we don't need our ancestors got this for us. Y'all ancestors didn't do shit, and if you ain't finna help codify this and keep it with us, it's no need for you because y'all don't like us anyway. So let Trump do what he do. But it's still upset, man, because people that you just don't get it. Hi, how are you doing? Hey, single thread, how you doing? He said single thread 2051. How you doing, brother? Good morning. We're talking about the Supreme Court ruling. And so man, I don't know, man. I'm really just boggled with the whole thing because I'm like, man, my grandma turned 100 years old on May 8th. So of course we got that. Let's see what else we want to talk about outside of that. I don't know who else got news on it this morning. Everybody got news on it, but still though, I'm like, damn, man. Let's see who else got a good explanation for this. Let's go over here to these peepers. You go to the peepers be having the information. So with the peepers be having the information, you can go to these people. Hope you're having a good morning, man. This is right. This right here is like kind of sad. This is real sad, bro. No lie, this is sad. I was born in Mississippi, so it really hit. Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Damn, bro. Let's listen to this one.
Which created the state's second majority black congressional district, is unconstitutional. The court writing that, quote, the Constitution almost never permits a state to discriminate on the basis of race, with Justice Alito delivering the opinion for the court. The decision marks a major win for Republicans, as Louisiana will now have to redraw its districting map and could have major implications for upcoming elections. For that, I want to bring in senior justice reporter Ryan Riley, who has been following this for us. Ryan, talk about those implications, right, of this decision out of Louisiana. We have a huge election now, just 7 months away come November.
Yeah, it's going to be a real scramble. And remember, Yasmin, before all of this, they originally drew this map that despite Louisiana's population being a third black, that only one of the 6 districts that they drew originally was majority black. And so when they came back in order to sort of comply with the Voting Rights Act, they had drawn maps that created 2 majority black districts. But overall, if you look at the course of the Supreme Court's jurisprudence on the Voting Rights Act over the course of the last decade plus, I mean, they've been chipping away at the Voting Rights Act ever so slowly. And I think this is another big chunk that essentially they're taking out of the Voting Rights Act, which was sort of meant to originally, make voting more equal, give individuals who had been suppressed for generations and for years more power in their own government. Yeah. So this is, from a purely political standpoint, you should benefit Republicans, as you sort of mentioned. And I think that,
you heard me, it's going to benefit Republicans. And the thing is, when it benefits foundational Black Americans, ADOS, whatever y'all want to argue about, we can argue about it later because right now it's bigger than that. If it benefits us, it benefits everyone. You know, we all know this. You know this. We know this. Okay, we all know this. Okay, so listen, let's go over here to the talk streets because talk over there talking too. So I put in talk. Let's go see what they over here saying. And this big head around. My thing is this. What do y'all be doing? I want to know. What do y'all be doing, Hakeem? What do you be doing? What are you doing? You are so stiff. What the hell is y'all job? The Black Caucus is fucking us up. What is the Black Caucus doing? Okay. I cannot. We need to vote. Oh, yeah, y'all. Let's see what Hakeem Big Head talking about. Here we go.
Strikes a blow against the Voting Rights Act and is designed to undermine the ability of communities of color all across this country to elect their candidate of choice. But we're not here to step back. We're here to fight back.
Yes.
Now, when this decision came out earlier today, it's an unacceptable decision, but not an unexpected decision. Because this isn't even really the Roberts Court. It's the Trump Court.
Yes.
And what we would expect from the Trump Court is an effort to continue their scheme to suppress the vote and rig the midterm elections and beyond.
The problem is, Hakeem, this right here. When Democrats had power, y'all had the Senate and the House, everything else. Y'all chose to sit on y'all hands. I can't blame it on y'all because y'all are dumb. Y'all don't know how to fight fire. All y'all know how to do is just scheme a little bit. Trump is a full throttle ratchet South Memphis on Scarface. You know what I'm saying? And so Trump is not gonna play by the rules. He never has played by the rules, and you know this. So my thing is, I want to know what is our Democrat party doing to protect us on something. It's like, Jesus, I'm so upset, y'all. This is sad, man. It's sad, and this all they got to say is, well, and then this is what we're gonna do.
Because these extremists have failed America in every possible way. They failed on the economy. They failed on healthcare. They're failing as it relates to this reckless and costly war of choice. The extremists have completely and totally failed America.
That's right.
So they've concluded, aided and abetted by the Trump court, that they have to cheat to win. Today,
the voting rights decision by the Supreme Court on the Louisiana case.
And now let me tell you something. You know what? So I think yesterday, the FBA lineage was trending, I think, on Twitter for a little while yesterday. And the thing is this: if we had taken more gumption and more caution to what was going on and guarding what was ours, because when you invite people into the country and they're against you, and then they found out that they wanted you too, they just didn't know how. You run into these problems. And then my thing is this: Al Sharpton, his big ass head, these are our people, Lord, and they ain't been doing nothing. Al Sharpton been there for 82 years, and we can't even get damn near good school, and he been there 82 years. Only thing he did was got the new Olympic shop before everybody else got it. God, man.
Is devastating. It shoots a bullet in the heart of voting rights that was gained through bloodshed.
You was there for all this. You didn't want to plan. Come on, Al, what are you doing? You got to mention. I can't even still ask no more. Just say it. Just say it. You should have been smacking the pen at the judge's hand, man.
Major Supreme Court ruling involving the Voting Rights Act that could have a significant impact on the midterm.
Today's decision by the United States Supreme Court will impact your rights, your representative, and every election from here on out. It's a big deal in case you weren't picking up what I'm putting down. By now, you already know the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 on a case out of Louisiana about one of its congressional districts. Now, I know that doesn't sound like anything you should get yourself involved in or care about, but you might want to, because today's ruling, according to the conservative supermajority, chips away at the 1965 Voting Rights Act, but according to the liberal justices, it goes way farther than that. They say today's ruling effectively guts the last bit of that landmark civil rights legislation. Either way you cut it, millions and millions of Americans will be affected by this ruling, and there may be some unintended consequences that we haven't even thought about yet. So let me explain. The whole issue in front of the court today is about that one congressional district in the state of Louisiana. The Constitution says the way we are all supposed to be represented by members of Congress is based on the population of our state, and that representation should be proportional. Now, that doesn't just go, by the way, for representation in Washington, D.C. It also goes for your representation in your state government, too. Well, in Louisiana in 2020, the census awarded the state 6 U.S. House seats based on the state's population. State lawmakers drew a new map to create those 6 House districts. That map included one majority black district out of the 6, even though black voters make up about 1/3 of the state's population. So in 2022, a group of black voters sued the state saying, hey, this map is a violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which says you, the state, are not allowed to draw new district maps that dilute the power of our minority vote. A federal judge agreed and said, yep, it's a violation. State of Louisiana, you need to redraw that map. And by 2024, Louisiana had followed the judge's order. And Louisiana drew a new map that created not 1, but now 2 majority black districts. Because, remember, representation is based not only on population, but also should be proportional.
Let's start with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act. They didn't weaken it. They didn't limit it. They gutted it. 6-3, Justice Alito writing the majority. And what they did today is essentially make it almost impossible to challenge a redistricting map for racial discrimination. That's what they did. Think about what that means. The Voting Rights Act was the crown jewel of the civil rights movement. It was passed in 1965 because black Americans were being systematically shut out of the democratic process. Poll taxes, literacy tests.
And do you know why? Okay, let me tell you something why. Okay, you know why? Reason why is that every time after they abolished slavery, okay, every time we went off to go build our own stuff, build our own houses, build our own communities, live independent of them, they came in and they burnt it down. Or they unalived everybody in the town. Or they hung them down the street like strange fruits all down the street. Or they put your city under a goddamn river or lake. So you couldn't live apart. You can't live separate because anything you do, we had to get intertwined into the system in order to even get to leave us alone. And then we get intertwined and it's still drama. Man, Lord have mercy. Jesus. Somebody go dig up OJ. Lord have mercy. Is he gone? I don't think he gone.
This is 1965. If you look back over time, it is not that long. There were grandfather clauses, and when those obvious tactics got struck down, they moved to the next thing, drawing district lines to dilute black voting power, packing black voters into a few districts as possible so that their votes counted for less. And that's what they're doing now. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act said you cannot do that. That was the protection. And today the Supreme Court said, actually, never mind. You kind of can. Not you kind of can, you can. Justice Kagan was so upset that she read her dissent from the bench out loud in the courtroom, which is something justices almost never do. She said the majority eviscerates Section 2. She said the law is all but dead letter. She said under this new standard, a state can systematically dilute minority citizens' voting power without legal consequence. And the White House called it a complete and total victory. That's what Donald Trump said when asked about it. He said, I haven't read it, but is it a victory for Republicans?
Breaking news, the Supreme Court has...
You know, I think people are really confused about this voting rights decision. I'm hearing people go, oh, this is wonderful. Now we can finally get back to being colorblind. The best way to stop racial discrimination is to stop discriminating by race, which sounds really, really smart, except it's really, really dumb.
No idea.
The Voting Rights Act is Dr. King's act. It's Dr. King's law. Nobody more committed to a colorblind society than Dr. King.
Right.
So then why was he fighting for this law in particular? Because Dr. King wanted society to be colorblind. He wanted society to be blind to race. but he didn't want the government to be blind to racism.
Amen.
He didn't want the government to continue being blind to the fact that there are people who don't want a colorblind society and who are doing all kinds of shenanigans, especially in the southern states, to discriminate against black voters, to weaken the black vote, to do things that were horrible to black people, and the government was doing nothing about it. So yes, we want a colorblind society. We want a society where people don't treat each other badly because of race. But being blind to race as a society doesn't mean the government should be blind to racism when it's happening. And
unfortunately, I don't think we can ever be colorblind, bro. I don't think that, because, you know, when people live in, it's like I think it's still farther beyond us. I think the young kids, maybe they're very much more open-minded, but you know, children do what you teach them, you know, and a lot of times, you know, people they learn racism.
Because of this ruling, it will be impossible to prove in court. What everybody knows is that there's still shenanigans going on in these southern states to hurt black voters, and that is wrong.
It's wrong.
And now we have one less tool to do anything about it. That does not make America better. It makes America worse.
Yes.
You know,
we have breaking news. The Supreme Court just issued a decision that could have major consequences.
The Supreme Court.
Just dropped. Shame on the Supreme Court for what it did today. The Republican majority on the court voted to strike down congressional maps drawn in Louisiana that would have given black voters in that state, who make up 30% of the population, more equal representation. In doing so, the Republican Supreme Court effectively gutted the remaining protections of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a landmark civil rights era law that restricted racial discrimination in voting. Now, I have lived through the civil rights era, and I've argued before the Supreme Court. Justice Samuel Alito knew exactly what he was doing. He wrote the opinion using a bunch of technical gibberish to justify his decision, to make it seem as if the court wasn't completely invalidating Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. But it did, and Alito knew it. This Supreme Court has dishonored the countless activists who fought for the Voting Rights Act, including those who paid for it with their lives. Alito and the conservatives on the John Roberts Court have now made it much more difficult, if not impossible, for minority voters to fight discrimination when states redraw their congressional maps. This will open the door for other states to redraw future maps in ways that will dilute the votes of minority voters, giving them less say in who represents them in Congress. Some Republican-controlled states like Florida, Tennessee, and Mississippi are already redrawing their congressional districts. This could have an impact on the 2026 midterms. But the major effect of today's decision will likely be in 2028 and beyond. Folks, I don't want to sugarcoat this. It's devastating news, making it all the more important for us to show up in full force for this November's midterms. Democrats need to win back control of both houses.
They do. And I think the Democrats do need the Democrats are gonna need all of us, and they definitely gonna need the black vote. But I think I agree with Tariq on this one simple thing, is that I don't feel like it's fair for us to continue if that we all jump in and try to fix this whole shit they could have fixed a long time ago, or did something to be the right way instead of, you know, doing everything else. Because both sides are really definitely, you know, got their flaws in the dumb. But, you know, this time you need to give some up for that vote. I ain't lying. I'm telling you. Because at the end of the day, like, look. Do you really expect black women to come to the rescue after all this? You know what I'm saying? Now, I know they are. You know what I'm saying? Because it's our ancestors. This is the bill that Martin touched. You know what I'm saying? So, man, listen. Y'all better. Lord have mercy. Help us.
I'm sure you've heard about the decision that was ruled on today in the Supreme Court. I'm going to explain it to you. If I'm being very honest with you, it is a devastating day.
Yes, it is. So sad, man.
In terms of the history of civil rights in this country, a tremendous step backwards. I'm going to explain things as usual in a way that you and I can understand. If you are somebody that feels your spirit about to, actually, in the comment section, babe, this video ain't for you. The Voting Rights Act of 1965, okay, is something that essentially said you can't screw with people's ability to vote and be represented. You can't fuck with people's ability to vote based on their race, and you can't fuck with people's ability to have proper representation in the government based on race. That's that part. Here is this part. Congress in the United States is a two-part situation. It is the Senate, it is the House of Representatives. Every state in this nation has 2 senators. Doesn't matter how big or small your state is, you get 2 senators. There are 100 senators. That's it. The House of Representatives, the amount of seats that a state gets in the House of Representatives is determined by their population. How many people live there. So for example, a state like Alaska has like 1 representative. A state like Texas or California has dozens because they have a significantly larger population.
Right.
Okay. Gerrymandering is the process of carving up a map.
Yeah, cheating.
That will then translate into how this population is represented.
Right.
I'm going to show you.
And we're going to be very underrepresented.
Hypothetical.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's say that this is our state. These circles are different pockets of the population. This state gets 4 seats in the House of Representatives. Okay. Based on these here colors, we can see roughly a fourth of their population, about 25% of the population, votes democratically. Okay? If they have 4 seats and about a fourth of the population votes democratically, one of those seats in a fair world would be a Democrat seat. However, you can divide up or gerrymander, that's the word,
gerrymander,
a map in a way that will essentially erase the voice, erase the representation of this 25%. Let's look. It's actually a little bit more than a quarter. It would be like...
Come on, little teacher.
30%. Yeah, like a third.
She got to figure it out.
33%.
Right.
Okay. But it gets 4 seats. So, all right. If you do... Let's say you divide it up like this.
So you see what she's doing? Basically, that's what they're doing. You know, they're going to steal it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's what it is. So if you don't know, let's take a little quick memory lane down the road of kind of like, you know, man, I'm telling y'all, when I say depressing, this shit is depressing. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Let's have a little memory lapse of what happened during the civil rights, and let's have remembrance of some of our leaders and what they did for us. We thank you, we love you, and hopefully we can fix this shit. And we'll come together and do that just for y'all, because y'all lay down y'all lives to us, and we have the reason to be fighting right now. Everybody want to be Beyonce, but we are trying to fix it. Check out this.
You hope to achieve?
Well, we hope to achieve equal rights as any human being deserves. That's what we are working for.
What do you think the prospects are for achieving that goal?
I think we'll be successful if we continue.
How long do you think it would take?
I have no idea.
Man, my mama was born in 56, right? And she wasn't even born with full access.
Polling places were swamped by both Negro and white voters, some of whom stood in line for up to 4 hours before casting their ballots.
Check out this. This is also a good memory of voting rights.
Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy.
For 40 years, Martin Luther King Day has been a federal holiday.
Yes.
Now is the time.
There he is.
Now, let me pause this right quick. Now, to our Haitian, our Jamaican, and our melanated cousins that come over here and tell us about how lazy, how we know work hard, how we don't do nothing. I want you to look at your country. Did you ever have any group of people like these that marched down on this White House and told them to kiss their ass quick, you know, and stand up for them and say, listen, our children won't live like this. We want free access. We want equal rights. And to the point where they say include them too.
Granite on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. But with his legacy and landmarks of the civil rights era no longer set in stone,
Good morning,
it
baby.
might be a good time to look back at some events from the tumultuous decade between 1955 and 65.
This is the place where it happened. And there you are. Yep.
And meet people who lived them.
Once we die, then the civil rights generation leaders will be gone. There I am.
Arthenia Joyner became a prominent lawyer and a Florida state senator. But in February 1960, Joyner, 17 then, was one of 20 black high school students picked by the NAACP to take part in a sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter.
So where exactly was the lunch counter? It was right about here.
The old Woolworths in downtown Tampa, Florida, is just a gutted shell now.
Where were you? I was about here. Yeah.
Similar sit-ins by students took place across the South.
I can't imagine not being kind of scared. You know, there are things that are bigger than fear. Older folks thought that you're taking a heck of a chance you could get killed. Why are you doing this? Because we have a right to fight for respect and dignity, and we are going to do it. It's time for a change.
Joyner was a fifth grader in 1954 when the Supreme Court...
Now, with our leaders doing this, right? I'm gonna leave the story long because I'm already upset. I'm so upset. I'm so upset, girl. I'm so upset. Listen, go back and just go on Google civil rights and look up some of y'all history, because this is what this is what we have to we can't argue right now. We just can't. We have to come together and fix this, no matter who right, who wrong. Not everybody can come together. We know who ain't coming, but shout out to our ancestors. We love you. Hopefully your spirits guide us, and y'all will give us a little unction of what y'all did. I'm unapologetic. Tank being unapologetic as I know how. You have reached out now to Tank's Talk CV1. Hit like and subscribe, and just pray for America, because honey, who knows? Who knows? Day by day, baby. Okay, my God, today. All right. He's out. He's out.